We are back in business. Cleveland is facing Oakland. I wouldn't say it's a must win, but it's a you have to win. This Oakland team is bad. We will have updates from the game as it's occurring, as fun things pop up. We're going to talk some minor leagues, talk some stats that have been getting thrown around, and talk about Jason Bilous, what everyone's signed in, downloaded to hear about on today's episode of Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I had the wrong thing queued up there, so apologies for the little snafu at the beginning. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by someone who will never have a snafu. That's Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB to save $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. I want to thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day where you get podcast. We have your Guardians covered every day. There's Justin. I'm Jeff. Let's just get the minor piece of news out of the way. Jason Bilous cleared waivers. I think most of us expected this. It's a great opportunity for Bilous, honestly, and it's a great opportunity for Cleveland to try to work their magic. Jason Bilous got six-figure offers out of high school, decided to go to Coastal Carolina, stayed for 4 years. I believe he got a little over $100,000 as a day 3 pick. He was a guy who, when he went to college, I thought first, second rounder. It just didn't come together. Coastal Carolina's had a lot of relatively high picks, but he was kind of at it for a time the big guy. He was the guy they landed. He was their Seth Lonsway in many ways, and control has been an issue. We'll see if Cleveland can work with him. And listen, you want an example of a guy who struggled as a starter and they moved to the bullpen and found success. That's the guy they just signed an extension to. That's Trevor Stephan. You want another one? That's Sam Henches, who we can't wait to come back. You want another one? It's Eniel De Los Santos, who was a great addition to this team. So, I mean, we could probably keep going, but those are the ones that came to mind. I mean, Eli Morgan, boom. We can just, this is what happens. Starters, your best relievers are often starters. We'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, you move on. You don't lose anything for this. He was a placeholder. And because of the timing of everything, they got a very good chance they knew they could pass him through waivers, and they were. And, we'll see what happens. Lord knows that AAA team could use some help in the bullpen. We'll get into that in segment 2. But, Justin, blocking. Do you want to take I can pretend that's not how you block, but different block out.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who watched the weekend's games could tell that it was not great. And this is one area we talked about for Mike Zunino over the winter when these stats came out over at StatCast. He was frequently last in a couple of leaderboards. They went back. I think they did dated 2021 is what it was. Might be even further back. But I know, pretty much he has not been. He didn't have enough stats last year really to play to qualify because he was out most of the year. But his blocking still wasn't good in 2021, and it's not good this year. And it wasn't good over the weekend. And what is it? -5 in terms of it's not good. He is like at the bottom of the lead. He might be last.
He is last. He is the worst. That was
3 games. Two
I
games.
think
2 games caught.
His score. I saw some interaction on this. It hasn't officially posted yet. Mike Petriolo had a thing, and I saw some back and forth. But I believe his score is lower than any other single team's. So yeah, it's bad through 3 games. And I know people will say, hey, those were wild pitches. Yeah, but there's also a point where you get knocked down a wild pitch. It's not only that he's not knocking him down, they're getting away from him every time. Like sometimes you got a bad pitch. Your job as a catcher is to make sure it doesn't shoot out.
Yeah, that's the big deal. Like the wild pitches are going to happen. They are the fault of the pitcher. But the reason you sign a defense first catcher, if he's not going to be a great offensive producer, although he did have a 3-run homer, which was good, or what was it, 3 extra base hits on Sunday. That was the first
2 doubles and a home run.
Yeah, first time in 10. Although I'm going to say that last double was kind of questionable because they had that tripping. I think it was J.P. Crawford who tripped or something on the way out there, so that was kind of questionable. But they gave it to him. It was the first time in 10 years Cleveland had a catcher with 3 extra base hits in the game. since Carlos Santana. And what was up with Carlos Santana? He was not a good defender. He had a great arm, and he could hit. That was about it. And then I don't know. So far, I think we're learning the same thing about Mike Zunino. And, we'll be keeping an eye on how he does controlling the run game. Because I feel like controlling the run game right now is hard. There are a lot of stolen base attempts because of these new rules. And I feel like it's going to, like league average throwing out runners most years. I know we're getting off topic from catcher stats, but league average most years throwing out runners is like 25%. That's going to drop. I feel like that's going to be 25% is not going to be the league average anymore for most years. And we'll see how that ends up. But like, do you attribute that Zunino is rusty because he didn't play a lot last year? And, he had spring training, but they also were careful about his usage in spring training. Do you think it's rust, or you're looking at the historical data of his blocking issues and it says this has been a problem for him and it's definitely something they've got to work on. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting because he's not necessarily the best defensive catcher they've ever had, but maybe they're hoping for a little more offense and they're hoping for maybe their focus is just, hey, let's control the run game and then we'll figure everything else out because the run game is going to be the biggest deal. But you're going to give up a lot more stolen bases by not blocking or extra, I shouldn't say stolen, but extra bases by not knocking down pitches, right? Like, if you don't keep them in front of you, you're going to give up extra bases even if they're not trying to steal anyway. That's a problem.
Yeah. And, I think I think it's both. I think there's some rust, but I also think it's not his forte. And I don't think he has this bad, but I think the rust is why he's a little worse than normal when it comes to this. I can't help but watch the game right now, and I'm already not looking forward to our comments tomorrow.
Yup. First start. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Can we just say, like, let me just throw this out there since we talked about the Zunino issue that, like, yes, Plesac isn't pitching well, but what are you going to do? Like, I know people are going to line up to cut him, but I love Logan Allen, but Logan Allen struggled in AAA last year. Like, Connor Pilkington got lit up in AAA already. They don't really have options with Mackenzie hurt. So
start the BABIP clock.
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of is.
The BABIP countdown is going to start right now. I guarantee. I'm not looking at Twitter, but I guarantee there's people like, all right, call Tanner BABIP up right now.
No, and we'll see what happens. And hey, maybe it's June. They'll figure it out. May. But they've never really called anyone up in May. That's like they've never really jumped. It's either like Stephen Kwan opening day, or then it's like June. So you can, because if you're not going to get the opening day bonus, then they're going to wait so they can manipulate surface time.
Yeah, the problem is this Oakland lineup is not good. Like,
no,
if you put a fat pitch in the middle of the plate, and these guys are in the major leagues, they're going to do something with it. But
I can't help but pull, like, you talked about Ryan Noda, who was a University of Cincinnati kid, must be probably an Ohio kid in general. Connor Capel, former Guardian. I once had him in my top 10 prospects in the system. Wouldn't it be funny if he is the best one of that prep class? Because that's the Benson, Nolan Jones, and Connor Capel.
He'll probably be the best player in the Oscar Mercado trade.
Yeah. Yeah, no, probably will be.
Torres never made it. He'll probably be the best player in that trade, which is wild.
Yeah, but no, like I said, if you also think about the fact that, like, and this is the thing, I'll go back before we round into saying here, he was 19 years old on draft day. When a team goes and does something that is completely different than everything else they do, you should pay attention to that.
That's true.
Yeah. So this is actually, you got this one, right? So I'll just sit here quietly.
Yeah, pay attention to this fantastic sponsor. Buying tickets to your favorite event should never be stressful. I know I stress out all the time about buying opening day tickets for the Guardians and concert tickets, and I want to know where I'm going to be sitting. So Game Time is the fast and easiest way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and other events you're going to. They have killer deals on last-minute tickets, the best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over tickets and get excited for the event with flash deals. Easy to find and buy tickets for every event of your kind in the area. And they have images of seat views. I'm someone who always wants to know what my seat looks like, whatever event I'm going to. So having a picture of that is super helpful. They have the lowest price guarantee and event cancellation protection. Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals. Forget planning for months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the game time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section or row for less, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. They're going to go above and beyond for the cost. Snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. If you're going to do it, you might as well get the $20 off. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
So Plecek's already out of this one. 6 runs in 2 innings. And again, this is not a good team. And he went 1 inning, 7 hits, 6 runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 1 home run. He just wasn't fooling anyone tonight. But Curry's in. We'll see what it goes here. I mean, he's this is where the runoff of the Tristan McKenzie injury just kills you. Like, it's just,
not being able to call up Gaddis or somebody for. I've already got people on Twitter asking me when is BABIP coming up.
Yes.
Like, I literally already have a tweet about that.
But they're not gonna, like I said, since he didn't make this team, they're not gonna call him up until they'll call up Pilkington first. We'll see what happens with Logan Allen if he can. There's a chance that they're not going to run because they're going to manipulate the service time and they're going to wait. And that's, I think, June is when they like to call up young players. And we'll just kind of have to stuck and be wait and see. It's like when Oscar Gonzalez came up, right?
I think that, they're not going to have a short leash with Plesac to begin with. They're getting way ahead of ourselves, but
he's not going anywhere.
No, they're going to let this roll. I mean, you're not going to see. He's probably still going to get at least. And no, not every start's going to be this bad, too. No. He just had a very bad start. But, I mean, if this was to be a trend into July, or not July, but into June.
Yes.
Yeah. And they do want to save Pilkington for the 6-man role or the doubleheader starter stuff. I don't know. I do. It depends on how he pitches, but I do think that I wouldn't be stunned if BABIP is the first non-Connor Pilkington guy. I mean, maybe they could put Curry in the rotation if things got really bad, but we're getting so far ahead of ourselves. I don't want to feed that speculation because it's not realistic on April 3rd.
No. He's not. Like I said, June, and honestly, like I said, if by that time Logan Allen is pitching well in AAA because he has to be added, he'll get the first shot anyways. I think they would likely go that way anyways. Zach Plesac is going to get reps. I hate to break it to everyone. As much as Twitter is knee-jerk, the Guardians front office is anything but. They hold on forever, hoping to recoup value. We'll see what happens in the rest of this game. But yeah, they're not going to just stop. You might as well not even put in the comments. They're not cutting him. They're not moving on. He is going to be here through the end of May.
Yeah, they don't move that fast, and you need to get to what's the old saying? The first benchmark of the season is kind of Memorial Day anyway.
Yeah, so June 1st is when they typically wait to make a big move.
Yeah, but the good things are happening in Columbus so far. I mean, Bo Naylor, not pitching wise, not yet. The rotation's going to be fine down there, and like you said, hopefully Jason Bilous can fix that bullpen because. Woo, that AAA bullpen is, boy. I told one of my buddies, I said, going to be an exciting year in Columbus. The offense is good. There's some interesting starters. Hopefully the fans leave before the 9th or 8th inning because that way they leave when Clippers are still winning and they don't come in. Right now, not having Andrew Misiazek, not having Nick Mikolajczyk in AAA, that really hurts them. Those two guys could really help. Maybe Bilous will help. Maybe he'll figure it out. I am interested in Daniel Norris. I don't know if you saw, I cut a little bit of video over the weekend. I watched one of his starts. I know I was going to talk about Tyler Freeman, Bo Naylor first, but did you see that Daniel Norris has dropped his arm slot? He is now a very low 3/4 far out.
Is that a recent development?
It is. So I talked to our buddy Rahilio from oh gosh, I need
Tigstown. Is he not Tigstown anymore? Or
no, he is with Tigers Minor League Report at a bunch of other places, truthfully. But he said that last year the Tigers worked with him on dropping his arm slot a little bit, and he mentioned that he wanted a chance to start. I don't know if Cleveland guaranteed him a chance to start. He did technically start that game over the weekend. He just pitched 3 innings, so I don't know if he stretched out or not. But He did say the arm slot is a little bit lower than it was last year. So it's worth noting looking at it. He had a great day. I think he had like 14 swings and 8 misses. So 14 guys swing, or 14 times batters swung against him and 8 times they missed. So that's interesting data on him. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we both kind of thought he was kind of a warm AAA body, and he might be, I don't know, he could come out of nowhere. It could be interesting. Not that they need another lefty with the way Tim Herron pitch, but I'm paying attention to that. And
yeah, he faced 8 batters, struck out 5.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good. I was super surprised. Like I said, I thought he was just a warm AAA body for them to have depth for. But and he might be, but at least he's raising some eyebrows so far. Yeah, Bo Naylor's off to a great start, couple of homers. He had 1 homer on Sunday that broke StatCast. Love having StatCast in AAA. By the way, it's awesome to have that data. I was looking at it, the minor league baseball app is so bad. The MLB app, first pitch app, needs fixed. So
and the major league one is pretty bad right now.
Well,
I hate the changes they've made.
It's not. It's still better than the minor league. First pitch app. The first pitch app is pretty terrible. So you can't really follow a game box score wise on that, but on Savant you can with AAA data. Of course, they don't have Savant data for anything below AAA unless you're in like the Florida State League. Yeah, it won't be this year. Florida State League has had it for years, but Bo Naylor's hit a couple of rocket shots. Who else has hit a lot of rockets is Tyler Freeman. Like I've noticed that a lot of his hits so far have been within that 97 to like 101 mile an hour range. He's got a homer and a double, but he's consistently 97 to 100, which is pretty good for him. Like 110 is like the upper echelon of exit velocities. But if you're consistently in like the 97 to 100 range, you're hitting the ball pretty well, and that's going to make an impact, especially with the lack of the shift now, which we'll get into with average on balls in play. But he is off to a great start, and he's got a walk. He's got 3 strikeouts only. He's already been hit by a pitch. He's already stolen a base. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him down there. I mean, they're trying to give Gabriel Arias some playing time early on. He did okay in Seattle. They seem to have a role they want to work in for him. I don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Freeman, but man, he's off to he and Bo Naylor are off to very fun starts, and obviously there's a place for Naylor long term. I don't know about Freeman, but I definitely am glad to see him getting the ball hard, because we talked about bulking up and talking about how the guy who's in the best shape of his life usually doesn't have a great spring, but his spring wasn't good, but surprisingly his April has been better.
And it's also nice just to see him, like, he spent so much of his minor league career being kind of just a slap hitter that he's getting some more elevation, getting some more launch.
Yeah, a little more line drives.
To take advantage of some of his now.
Jeff froze on us. Not ideal, but yeah, they're working with Tyler Freeman to help with the contact ability a little bit and improve things in that area, because like we've talked about, they have done a good job with guys with contact ability and do a better job once they are able to find a little more exit velocity in there, and that's been the encouraging thing for sure for Tyler Freeman. We will patiently wait for Jeff to be back. But while Jeff is working his way back onto the show, let's talk about one of his favorite sponsors, the Ultimate Pro Baseball GM. Jeff is lapping the field with this app so far. So this is the coolest game out there. You get your chance to be a GM. You get to make all these coaching moves. You get to go out and hire coaching staffs and manage the finances, scouting and drafting players. It's a really great sim game. As Jeff always says, you can sit down and do it, 5 minutes at a time and run through all these great things. It's a challenging game. I have not done super great at it. I haven't been fired yet, but I'm not doing well. But Jeff is going to go out and take all the money for this app. I'm pretty sure. So if you want to get on this app and maybe Jeff can teach you, Jeff should really write a book or a tutorial on this, because he's done a couple seasons. He's downloaded he's created a couple of different profiles, and he is, I think, first, second, and third in our league already. He's pretty good. He knows who to hire. He knows the strategies. He knows what's going to win games. And really it's about tanking early on with this kind of stuff as well. Locked On listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On. Jeff did that without needing the boost, by the way, let me tell you. Use the promo code Locked On in the game store. Just make sure to check it out. Download the game. Visit probaseballgm.com. Scan the code on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, or look it up in the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. Yeah, so Jeff is really kicking my butt in that, and that's fine. Truthfully, fantasy baseball has not been my thing. Like, I love fantasy baseball. I'm in a lot of leagues, but I'm not the best at it. We talked about a Mike Petriello StatCast stat earlier today about the blocking, and Mike Zunino has not been a great blocker so far. The one thing he did note that Cleveland is doing well on, I believe they are third in baseball so far to start the season in terms of sprint speed as a team. So they are the third fastest team in theory. I don't know if sprint speed necessarily means you're the fastest team. Like, there are a lot of people who would suggest that sprint speed is not the most ideal way to measure speed, because some guys are better runners underway, which would sprint speed is a good factor in running underway. But getting down to first base and how you use that stuff in the outfield, like, there's different ways to measure it for sure. But sprint speed is a thing a lot of people are using, and Cleveland's third right now to start the season. So not really a surprise. And that's with adding Josh Bell and Mike Zunino, who guys are not typically very fast, but they've got everybody else. They've got Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Will Brennan. Oscar Gonzalez has surprised me over the last year with his speed. Like, he was not a fast runner when I saw him in the minors, and all of a sudden he is, which is crazy. So not really a surprise at all there. And eventually add Bo Naylor. Mike Petriello, I will say in his comment, I like Mike. He's a good writer. He's a very smart baseball guy. He loves baseball, and I enjoy his work. I especially enjoy StatCast. But he mentioned in there, I had a little comment with this. He mentioned that neither Naylor brother is known for their speed. And Josh Naylor, that is certainly true. Josh, we know, is not adding to the Guardians' sprint speed. He is subtracting to it, and that's fine. But he said Bo Naylor. He mentioned the brothers. So maybe he didn't. Maybe he meant Miles. I don't really know how Miles runs. I know Miles is a emerging hitter in this year's draft, but Bo Naylor, he said, also doesn't add speed to his game. Bo Naylor, that's wrong. Bo Naylor is an above average runner. He gets out of the box well. He is not your traditional catcher. So for him to say that the Naylor brother is like, if he means Bo Naylor, isn't known for his speed. I wouldn't say he's known for his speed. It's not his best tool, but for a catcher to have average or better speed, I would say he's above average. I'd say he's average to above average. Maybe he has the data on this. I don't know. But Bo Naylor did steal 20 bases last year, and I have seen him run. I do think he is at least an average runner, and I think most places grade him out as an average runner. And he did steal 20 bases last year. So I would say that Bo Naylor is not a bad runner. I would not put him anywhere near of the category of his brother Josh in terms of speed. So that was an interesting comment, but very cool to see so far the Guardians continue their brand of baseball in 2023 with being one of the faster teams in baseball. And that's one of those stats too that was talked about. We talked about a couple over the winter, was that Manfred stat from 538, which teams are best equipped to take advantage of baseball's new rules and who would have the biggest increase in win totals based on the old rules to the new rules. And Cleveland speed was a big factor in that as well. So good to see so far. And the other thing Jeff brought up, I don't have the data in front of that was kind of Jeff's thing, but it looks like this is probably due to the shift, and I'm not sure what else is involved in this. It's probably the shift. It's probably pitchers being engaged faster with to pitch, and guys are on their toes a little more. But batting average on balls in play, if you're watching on YouTube, we have the screen that says BABIP is changing. BABIP is batting average on balls in play. So if you're not familiar with the stat, which I think most of you are, but if you're not, it's essentially what the average is on balls you put in play. So a strikeout and a home run do not contribute to an average on balls in play. So if you put a ground ball back up the middle in the past, if that got caught due to the shift, your average on balls in play would drop. If it gets a hit, your average on balls in play goes up. It's just like batting average, but it only is affected by the balls in play. and it doesn't count home runs. So about league average in the past was like 280, give or take 5 or 10, depends on the hitter. And hitters have a lot of control over average on balls in play because of their ability to hit the ball hard. If you are hitting the ball hard like Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton, when you're hitting the ball not over the fence, which those two do a lot, your average on balls in play tends to go up the harder you hit it. So when you're hitting the ball pretty hard, you're going to carry a higher BABIP. And the same for speed. So like Miles Straw, even though he struggled last year, or even a Stephen Kwan, his average on balls in play might be higher than what league averages. And because they run well and hit the ball on the ground. So people always look at BABIP and think, oh, this guy, carried an unsustainable BABIP. It's 320 and that's too high. Well, it really depends on the outcome or the hitter's skills. Does he hit the ball hard? Does he run fast? And the pitchers too, inducing weak contact. I mean, Cal Quantrill, I don't know. I'd have to go and look specifically at the batted ball data against him. I can't imagine it's super great, but if you can suppress contact without missing bats, and Daniel Clase is a good example of this. Definitely induces a lot of weak contact. So when guys put the ball in play, it's low and it reduces their chance of getting hit anyway. Probably due to the shift, but also probably due to pitchers just not getting as much time between pitches, and hitters having to be ready more. Fielders, having to be ready more often. BABIP is going up. So like I said, normally it was around 280. Now they're talking it's more like the average is going to be 300. So league average on balls in play is 300. So I think league average is probably overrated. Like you can look at it as a plus or minus thing. Like, is this guy hitting 340? Is he going to continue to hit 340? You have to look at the player skill. So just because league average is shifting in terms of average on balls in play because of the rule changes, your frame of reference starts differently when it starts at 300 versus 280. But at the same time, you have to look at each individual player's skill. Does this player run well? Does this player hit the ball hard? Does this pitcher suppress contact? You have to look at the individual player skills before you can suggest that, well, he's getting lucky because his average on balls in play was below the 300, or his average on balls in play was higher. So he's getting lucky as a hitter, unlucky as a pitcher. Those things don't always regress to the mean because all these players kind of control their own outcomes. But some of it will be changing because of the rule changes. So some of that is going to fall more out of the realm of their control, because especially for pitchers without the shift, hitters are going to obviously benefit more from it, especially guys who hit the ball back up the middle, guys who pull the ball. So you can probably reasonably expect if they're coming in higher than they normally did, those numbers might remain high. And you also, again, look at the individual players. Like Jose Ramirez is a great example. Josh Naylor, these guys who pull the ball more, like if they're more spray hitters, or if they, it depends on their batted ball profile. So if they're hitting for a higher average this year on balls in play because they're pulling the ball the same as they always did, then guess what? They probably are benefiting from the new rules, and that might be sustainable because they are now getting hits where they previously weren't. If it's going down, then as a hitter, I don't know. As a pitcher, that's also hard to say. You would assume that this would go up with the rule changes. So anytime a guy goes up, you definitely, you don't have to say he's overperforming anymore. When he goes down, definitely a little more concerning. Yeah. All right. Well, Jeff never made it back, unfortunately, for today's show, but I thank you for sticking with us, checking with us every day. We got your team covered every day on Locked On Guardians. The Guardians not having a good go of it tonight as we're recording this while they're playing Oakland. Not a great start for Zach Plesac. We will break all that down on Wednesday's episode for you. Until then, make sure you are subscribing on YouTube. Hit the bell. Make sure you get notified of every episode when it premieres. Make sure you are listening every day, downloading. We do appreciate it. Last I checked, we're over 1,400 subscribers on YouTube. We definitely could use, some more. We definitely could use a new review on iTunes. So if you've listened and you haven't left a review in a while, or you never left a review, let us know how we're doing. I am always open to constructive criticism. If you want to leave us a review on a podcast platform that allows you to do that, you can definitely give us less than 5 stars. Just tell us why it's not 5 stars. Leave us something to improve upon, because this show is for your entertainment. Otherwise, we are just talking to each other, and nobody wants to hear that. Well, I guess you're listening, CJ. If we're talking to ourselves and we're not doing well, then let us know. But Jeff is making it back to say goodbye.
Yes. I just want to throw this out there as well, because it pops up from time to time.
Oh, we were so close to getting Jeff back. That was a little tease.
Did I not stick?
You're here now.
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, so I noticed in the comments the pronunciation issue came up again, and here's my quick thing. I am dyslexic. This is a dyslexic issue. I talked to someone when I went to a training on a program to teach children with dyslexia. We have confusion, so even memorization doesn't work, because then we get confused in the memorization of things. So my mispronunciation is not lack of work. So I guess I am sorry that I was born with a disability, but like the analytic mind and things that I learned with it made me who I am. So I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry it bothers you, but also like I listen to a lot of podcasts where other people have this issue and I don't understand. And here's the thing, language is evolving and changing. So like pronunciations, don't stay consistent. But that's my thing on that. I want to thank everyone. Yesterday's episode really did well. I know everyone's super excited, so I don't want to end on a bummer. But yeah, go leave some reviews and make sure you're downloading every day on whatever platform you use to download on, because we're like 64th on Chartable, and we need to be in the top 20 again. We want to be one of the top 10 on this network. And, Justin and I both put in a lot of time. So even if you're not going to be able to listen that day, just do us a favor and download anyways. We appreciate that. Thank you for listening, and go Guardians, go.